So, what we have here is a completely jerry-rigged setup to test whether or not a Honda coil is going to put out spark. Now, the original plan had been to use my 6-volt battery tender, but it apparently has one of these safety features where it doesn't put out any voltage if it's not actually hooked up to a battery. Joy for safety there. So instead, I borrowed a 12-volt dewalt NiCad battery pack to get some voltage. And before anybody goes off the deep end and, gets all bent out of shape about this is a momentary test to see whether or not this thing can generate any spark at this point. Because if you look closely here, it has been, jerry-rigged by Lord only knows who to Lord only knows what effect. I've done my best to go through and fix it in accordance with the wiring diagram that I found online, and assuming that this actually works, what I'll go through and do is resolder all these connections properly, because this is just sad right here. So what we're going to do is, the way that this coil is set up, the blue lead that ties into the ground with the capacitor gets grounded back to the ground, and I've done that by hooking this lead underneath the vise there. So that ties in up over here where the capacitor ties in. So assuming this is all hooked up correctly, this is the power lead, and all I should have to do, since my ground lead is tied in over here under the spark plug, all held in place beautifully by this green wire, and yes, I understand I need a resistor cap, that's fine, didn't come with one, and I wanted to see if the coil was any good before I started buying parts. So all we're going to do is we're just going to kind of take the 12-volt hot lead and just touch it on there really lightly. Whoop, and you can see the voltage go through it. And we're going to check and see if we get any spark here in the spark plug. And as you can see, we're getting a nice blue hot spark over there, which basically tells me that this coil is capable of producing a spark. It'll probably produce less spark on 6-volt, but nonetheless it produces spark, and now I can carry on with reinstallation and fixing this mess over here. And knowing full well that this is actually going to work, and thus if it's not running, it's because of other reasons.